order. Let's see if I can remember. This meeting will be video recorded and broadcast on local channel 8 and on the town website at www.eastham.ma, no, -ma.gov.
Where's your cheat sheet? Oh, I have your cheat
That's
sheet too.
All right, we'll start with public information. First, the board. Amy?
Yeah. So we had I don't know, we haven't had a meeting since the conference, right?
Right.
Yeah. So the Mass Municipal Association conference in Boston, it was awesome. I thought, I missed the location of the old one, but the content was fantastic. And there was one little bit of information that I thought might be useful for residents that beginning May 7th, that is when Real ID goes into effect. And it kept getting bumped because everything kind of got unrolled during COVID. So this May 7th is when you're going to need to have a Real ID in order to board a plane. Otherwise, you're going to need a passport. And I was told that Eastham has 58% enrollment in Real ID right now, which is actually one of the top in the state.
Really?
But there's room to improve Eastham. So by May 7th, you should get your Real ID. 42.
Suzanne?
I was gonna say that we went to the budget school,
Oh, yes.
preliminary school budget
In the new auditorium.
in the new auditorium, and I didn't manage to thank the nutritional staff, but they fed us dinner and it was lovely. But I think it was helpful to see the Nauset school budget and the middle school budget, and then there were breakouts for us to go over the Eastham Elementary School budget.
Okay.
And
Any shockers? No?
well, they didn't have the region budget ready, which I think is gonna be the shocker, probably, because it has
Region
the
only?
region
That's transportation, right?
and
Transportation and benefits.
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 Rich pulled his microphone towards himself, so I don't know if you wanted to add on to that, so.
Anything to add, Rich? No?
All
right. Anyone else from the board? Jerry?
Yeah, I attended the Cape Cod Commission, had a meeting here last week for looking at the helping the town and create a climate action plan that they're going to be doing. So they're going to be coming around in the next 3 or 4 months, trying to talk with citizens of Eastham, getting their ideas of what's up and so forth, what their thoughts are, looking at costs and so forth. And it would really help if they come talk to you. Yes, please, and tell them what you think. If you think you don't want it or so, but be truthful, because they're saving us money because they're doing all this work for us to help us try and get a plan. And just a few numbers, like 26.5% of Eastham is in the FEMA special flood hazard area. And you keep going down, it's, over $67 million worth of buildings are in that area. And so forth. Now, who knows if FEMA will be around next year, but whatever. Those are things that are important to know, and it was really interesting, and I really want to publicly thank the Cape Cod Commission for helping us on that.
All right, thank you. All right, anything else from the board?
I'm going to bring my other stuff up later. I think.
Okay. All right, any information from the public that's not on the agenda? Tom? Yeah, go ahead and come up. Yeah. Either one. Yeah,
And
that's fine.
is it on?
Just make sure the mic's on.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. My name's Tom McNamara. I'm president of the part-time association here in Eastham. On behalf of the 807 signatures to our letter that we provided you on January 6th, I want to express our severe disappointment in the select board's decision to take a revote and implement the RTE in the town of Eastham. Why reject the recommendations of your experts on the Board of Assessors not to implement the RTE? What did you not agree with? These are the educated professionals on the topic. They've done the objective homework. How will the select board set the RTE percentage? Based on what defined need? What consideration has the select board given to a means tested RTE? Did you know one existed? Other communities have set the example for seniors, and this could become a blueprint to target the Eastham demographic in a similar way that the community fund was approved? What consideration was given to alternatives, the 3-year effort to obtain the new taxpayers assistance fund? What happened to the use of CPA funds and exemptions for the same assistance? Has the homework been done that other towns like Lexington, Reading, and others have in making a decision with respect to the RTE in Eastham? Where is the report, the facts, the data to show what RTE will do to help with affordable and year-round housing? Why hasn't this been done? Is it because you're afraid that you'll get the same results that Provincetown and Truro have found the hard way, that the RTE is simply a false promise? Why do you think that only 18 of 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts have even attempted to implement the RTE? When we talk about divisiveness in the community, one select board member demonstrates the point and flames the situation when she makes statements she does not represent the entire community. What do you think happens when you make public statements that you reject 55% of the taxpayers in the community? In Truro, the select board chair recently stated to The Independent, he represents all residents, full-time and part-timers alike. Words matter. 2 select board members have made repeated claims of privilege and money-rich part-timers. We invite these members once again to accept our invitation to our annual summer membership meeting, as many of your colleagues have in the past, to gain firsthand knowledge of who the part-timer really is. From those retired on fixed income to others who work 60 to 70 hours a week in order to be able to spend some of their limited spare time in Eastham. I think that you will find we have a lot more in common than we have differences. Once again, let's work together to find the right solution for Eastham and not repeat the failed approaches in other towns. We can and do better than the RTE. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tom. Can you send that as a letter to us also?
I'd be happy
Would you
to.
mind? Thank you.
Yep.
And we have someone online with their hand up. Carolyn G. If you could state your name, please.
Carolyn, you've been promoted to talk.
You're still muted.
Yeah.
There we go.
Thank you. Do I need to put on the picture, or is it okay as is? I don't know how to put
No,
on
you
the-
don't have to put the picture. Just state your full name, please.
Yes, my name is Carolyn Gorsica. I have been a part-time resident and taxpayer in Eastham for 36 years. I jointly own a property in North Eastham with my sister, within walking distance to Cokesbrook Beach. My parents and aunt originally bought the property in 1979. I'm not a second homeowner. I only own my home in Eastham. Before I continue, I would like to say I'm grateful for the time, dedication, and good work you all bring to the select board serving the town of Eastham. I share your concern for the affordable housing crisis and the increasing cost of living in Eastham. I support many of the efforts you have made to provide Eastham residents in need and young families with town services and resources. I, however, do not support the RTE. The RTE has not been shown to help with affordable housing and is not needs-based. So the RTE becomes solely a means to shift around $1.5 million in taxes from voting residents to non-voting part-time residents. This is unjust and divisive. When I learned that the select board decided to push the RTE forward, I called up my husband at work and sobbed. I felt like the select board had slammed the door in my face. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, anyone else? All right, we'll move on to our agenda. We have Cape Cod Commission Year in Review. Kristy Senatori, welcome.
Yeah.
published. All right.
Over here, good?
Yes, please. Thank you.
All right, good evening. I'm Kristy Senatori. I'm the Executive Director of the Cape Cod Commission. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here tonight. And I appreciate the shout out about the Climate Action Plan. We're very excited to be working in Eastham. So I'll talk a bit more about that in a few moments. But from time to time, I do take the opportunity to visit the 14 select boards across the Cape, as well as the Barnesville Town Council. Really an opportunity for me to share some of the work that we're doing out in the communities with the towns and the stakeholders, and also just an opportunity to have a dialogue and keep the lines of communication open if there's anything that you need from the commission, so that I can make myself available for that. So what I've just handed out is our 2024 year in review. It's not entirely comprehensive of all the work that we have done, but provides a high-level overview of some of our priority projects and initiatives. So I'll cover a little bit of that today, and then kind of share a little bit about some of our priority efforts going forward, and then happy to answer any questions if you do have any. So a lot of our work last year was spent on the development of our regional housing strategy. So really trying to address the housing crisis on the Cape, looking really comprehensively across all 15 communities. And so that effort took about a year and incorporated the input and feedback from a number of stakeholders, municipalities, and it includes a number of zoning recommendations. I know Eastham is really at the forefront of making some of those recommended changes. And it also concludes some regional recommendations for a number of things, and these include new funding mechanisms and programs, potential zoning reform and streamlined permitting, and the development of new entities to support affordable and attainable housing. So part of the strategy also includes a number of resources that we've made available to the communities to support the implementation of the plan. And those include multifamily design guidelines, a series of model bylaws that can be implemented locally. And we've also developed housing profiles for all of the communities. Those have recently been updated with the most recent ACS data. Those are now available on our website. Certainly feel free to take a look at those. We're moving forward currently with two projects that are recommended within the implementation section, and those are pre-approved plans. So we'll soon have available a series of model housing plans for a range of housing types, and these include small-scale housing, ADUs, duplexes, small multifamily housing that might be appropriate in certain locations on the Cape. I know Eastham staff has been engaged in this effort, and so we really appreciate your feedback, and we're grateful to be collaborating with Eastham staff to identify those areas that could potentially utilize the outcomes of that project locally. The second major initiative that we're moving forward on the implementation section of the housing plan is the development of a community housing trust and housing bank. So we've been working with a consultant on the research behind this type of an entity or entities. We've engaged stakeholders, and we're developing the framework for that type of an entity to really kind of directly support the acquisition of new land to support housing development for attainable and affordable housing. We are also underway with a project that I know Eastham has supported through the request for DLTA funding, and that's to explore strategies for incentivizing year-round housing. So certainly we look forward to working with you over the course of the next several months on that project. And we also are aware that you're working on updating the zoning in the District of Critical Planning Concern. So I believe that's going to be on the commission agenda coming up very soon. So, and then one of the other major initiatives that we've been working on is our freshwater initiative. So many of you know we've spent a significant amount of time looking at our marine water quality, and now we've really started to take a deeper dive into looking at our freshwater lakes and ponds, all 890 of those across the Cape. And we anticipate releasing a draft of that strategy sometime this month. So we'll be putting that out for public comment. Look forward to hearing the feedback and any suggestions to make that plan more appropriate for the region. So the plan itself will also include a number of resources, and so some of those are actually already available, and those include our pond buffer guidance, as well as our water quality data portal. So it's an opportunity for an interactive map-based online tool that allows users to really explore the water quality data that we've been collecting. So this is actually an expansion of our coastal water quality data, and so now we're actually able to include the data that's being collected by local pond groups, by towns and other regional regional partners through the pond monitoring program. So that's well underway. The regional pond monitoring program has actually we've identified funding to continue that program beyond the 2025 season. So just recently, the Cape and Islands Water Protection Fund Management Board has the ability to dedicate up to 10% of their annual revenue to monitoring, and they recently voted to provide these funds for freshwater pond monitoring in addition to funding for coastal monitoring. So certainly that is we're very excited and pleased to see that that has been successful for the Cape. I know some of the monitored ponds that we're looking at in Eastham are Bridge Pond, Herring Pond, and Minister's Pond, and we look forward to continuing that work and potentially expanding it. And so kind of along the same lines with wastewater, I just want to thank the town manager, Jackie Beebe, for her participation on the Cape and Islands Water Protection Fund Management Board. Just last year, that fund awarded nearly $65 million in subsidies for water quality and wastewater projects in 8 towns across the Cape. And certainly with the new model for providing subsidies to projects, we now are able to provide more certainty to our communities that that subsidy will be able to be applied into the near future. Kind of shifting a little bit, a lot of our work is actually related to transportation projects as well, and so certainly it's no secret really that we've been supporting the work of the Cape and Islands bridge replacement project for the Sagamore and Bourne bridges. And so certainly we're aware that the total of $2.4 billion in funding for the project has been secured. That's $1.72 billion in federal funds and $700 million from the state. Mass DOT has made recommendations for the approaches to those new bridges and the interchanges that will connect those bridges to the adjacent communities. This is all available on their website, and certainly we've been providing support as appropriate and really trying to make sure that we're coordinating with Mass DOT and the appropriate agencies to see that project be successful. Permitting is underway as far as we are aware, and the construction on phase 1, which would be the replacement of the Sagamore bridges, if everything goes according to plan, could begin in 2028. We are also at the commission working on a Vision Zero action plan. So this is an initiative that's designed to improve roadway safety and address traffic fatalities across the region. So completing this kind of an action plan will actually make all of the 15 towns eligible for Safe Streets for All grants. So these are implementation grants that could potentially leverage federal funding to implement some of these strategies. So there's a Vision Zero advisory committee that oversees the development of this plan and provides feedback throughout the process. Don Emerson of Eastham actually serves on that Vision Zero advisory committee. So we're excited and pleased that we have representation from many of the communities and stakeholders. Moving on to climate and coastal resiliency, I know that's already been discussed a bit, but we did just complete the development of model bylaws and regulations to promote resiliency in the floodplain today and into the future. We will certainly continue to collaborate with towns on the potential implementation of these model bylaws. Eastham was one of the partners on this project, and so we're pleased to see all of the work that's been done and look forward to continuing to work with you and other communities on that. And as you know, we did complete our low-lying roads project. All 15 towns across the Cape actually participated in that initiative. Each town now has 2 or 3 conceptual plans for 2 or 3 vulnerable roadway segments within their community. Certainly in Eastham, conceptual solutions were developed for Ellis Road, Governor Prince by Route 6A, South Sunken Meadow Road between Spring Road and Harms Way, and Herringbrook Road across from the Heritage Hill Circle. So we're excited and looking forward to assisting some of the towns and looking for potential funding for implementation of some of these roadways as well as additional roadways. So more to come there. And then finally, as you heard, a kickoff meeting was held with commission staff and others on the development of the Municipal Climate Action Plan. And we look forward to working with you over the next several months. It's going to be a pretty big effort, but I think it's going to be a really important one. And we're really looking forward to seeing the success that happens in Eastham. I know some of the towns across the region are watching and waiting to see how the success of this plan and hopefully can use that as a model or at least a pilot kind of community to move from here. Last, just a couple of things. We also completed a regional broadband needs assessment last year, which helps us to provide an understanding of the current broadband landscape, provides some key recommendations and some key findings. We're also working with a number of communities on digital equity planning. So we are looking forward to implementation of some of the recommendations within this plan. And what we're anticipating is that many of these recommendations will be potentially implemented at the local level. So we look forward to working with the local communities there. And then we also this past year had the opportunity to create or develop a new comprehensive economic development strategy for Cape Cod, or a SED. So we have a SEDS that gets updated every 5 years. And this recent iteration of the SEDS was approved by the Federal Economic Development Administration in June. And so this, with the Economic Development District designation that we do have in this new SEDS, makes the communities eligible for potential Federal Economic Development Administration funds. So we look forward to identifying projects that make sense to move forward with as a community, making sure that those are consistent with that economic development strategy and that are consistent with the priority initiatives in that plan. Lastly, we, as you know, every 5 years, update our regional policy plan, and we've just launched our update to that. And some of the areas of focus for this update is really encouraging housing in the right places, promoting reuse and redevelopment, preserving our natural areas, economic resiliency, climate action, and infrastructure. And certainly, we are engaging stakeholders currently in a series of focus groups around some of these issue areas, as well as with municipal staff to make sure that we are getting the best feedback as to what potential changes we might be needing to make within that regional policy plan. We also have a resident survey that is in the field now that will help us inform the update. Certainly, it will gauge some attitudes and preferences and concerns that stakeholders might have about the different elements within the plan itself, and just generally will help us to kind of better inform that update. So if you do receive a postcard in the mail, please do feel free to fill out that survey. We are getting a really good response rate, so we're looking forward to making sure that that is completed soon. I know some of you were at our One Cape Summit last year. That was our 10th annual summit, and we're looking forward to planning for this year. Probably take place in the fall again, but I'll be back, or someone will be back soon with more information on that. So lastly, I just wanted to thank Joy Brookshire, who was on the Cape Cod Commission board for about 15 years. So she was a very dedicated Eastham representative to the Cape Cod Commission. She was here from April of 2009 and served in that capacity until April of 2024. And I just wanted to take a moment to really thank her for her service and make sure that we recognized her for that effort. So that was very high level, very quick, but certainly I'm happy to answer any questions. And if there's anything I didn't cover that you're interested in, I'm happy to talk about that too. So thanks for your time tonight.
Anyone have any questions, comments? Suzanne? Go ahead.
I'm always really pleased with the work that the commission does. All of these things are super important to our communities. And I am interested in your maybe thoughts on some of these programs that are grant funded through the federal government. And I wasn't entirely sure how the Cape Cod Commission is funded generally. And I feel like the commission is probably one of those great examples of like where federal grants really benefit our community. And so if you could speak to that, that'd be great.
Sure, definitely. So certainly we're making sure that we're aware of any funding challenges that may arise or have arisen and maybe aren't as much of an issue at the moment. So we're keeping our eye on that and making sure that our budget and our funding mechanisms are versatile enough that we can still continue to do the work that we need to do, still work with the communities the way we need to work with them, and be flexible and certainly make sure that we can still maintain the priority projects that we have. So we'll keep our eye on it, and certainly where opportunities arise to apply for funding that is secured, and certainly we will continue to do that.
Jerry?
Yeah, if you find areas where you suddenly see a change in federal funding coming and so forth, could you let us know so we can at least try to make some, I know we're a blue state, so it's difficult to try to make some noise on that so that we can try and keep it. This is a unsettled time, and a few more months things may fall out a little better, but if you could, you're watching it, if you could let us know, we'd appreciate that.
Sure, I'd be happy to kind of make sure that these lines of communication remain open, definitely.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much.
Kristy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice to
Appreciate
see
you
you all.
coming. Yeah, Joy, I think Joy went on the commission when I came on the
It has been.
select board. So yeah, it's been a long haul. She's done a great job. All right, next, public hearings. Now, do we have a public hearing announcement in our? I don't think we did.
And not in the packet.
Yeah, they're not in the packet, but I imagine they were advertised.
They're not in my little packet. Wait a minute, let me see. Stephanie's. This is the proposed fee changes, but the ad is not attached.
The ad's not attached.
I think you can still do them. I know they were duly advertised
Okay. We just don't have
for
the
5:30.
published language. But we'll go ahead and start with the fee hearing. We only have a few things that have changed. We have the postal fees. Oh, let's start with the fire protection system. Going up a little bit from 75 cents to 85 cents. For residential. Actually, used to be 1% for residential. Now it's going up to 85 cents a square foot. Current commercial was 75 cents a square foot. It's going up to $1
Or 1%.
or 1%, whichever's greater.
What's the cost? 1% of total cost? What's the
Depends on the
cost?
project.
The permit, like
Well,
fire
putting in
protection
protect-
system. So if you have sprinkler system,
It's
Oh,
the
$100,000.
Okay, okay. I was just like, what did the
$1,000.
cost apply to? Okay,
Cost of putting it in.
the cost of putting it in. Okay.
and then we have mailings. We had talked about, right now it's $8. They proposed $8.72, but as you said, the
I think Jackie had a thing, we're looking at $10.
$10, right?
$10.
We had,
Now,
and they had
so-
talked about, we had talked about 9, but then
Nine,
you've
and-
said it's going up again
Yeah,
anyway,
it's
so
currently at 872
Yeah.
and postage will go up.
we might as well just make it 10,
Yeah, we'll do that one. I agree.
because we're behind the 872 already. So, and then the seasonal rentals for hotel, motel, inn and campground were $100. They're going up to $350 to match the rentals for short term.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we just missed that seasonal rental, which means more than 30 days.
Right.
Less than year round.
Very
Right.
niche.
All right. So it's public hearing. Do I have any members from the public wish to comment? All right, seeing none. We'll close the public hearing. Any comments or questions from the board? All right, we need a motion and a second.
I move we accept the fee changes as outlined in the packet, including the change to the abutter legal notice mailing to not $10.
Second. Oh, all of a second.
Not all three at once. All right, any more discussion?
Second, third, and fourth.
That's right.
Oh, my shameless reminder that fees are set to cover the cost and not for the town to make money.
Right.
Right.
We actually have very few going up this year, which is nice for a change.
All right, we'll vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0. All right, next, mooring regulations, Stephanie Sykes.
Do it to open a hearing on this one again.
we don't have the.
We
legal
don't have the
notice.
posting, but
We
we
don't-
did do it.
He did do it, no, but she just closed the public hearings. It just. published
Sure,
it.
I'll open up a public hearing for the mooring regulations. Welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you. This is almost like the last one, more of a clerical thing,
Yeah.
to simplify our permitting process and natural resources, and really is in response to resident or permit holder, a few complaints about confusing language. So the majority of the language when the regulations were redone in 2023 have been working wonderfully. There's just a little bit of confusion with this particular regulation 6.3G about permission for mooring placement relative to the upland property owner. So we haven't had actually any issues with this, and we haven't had to require, the Harbormaster has not required anybody to relocate this past
Okay.
season. So
Good.
we think this will go fluidly and is a little bit more in tune with how the department's operating, and will be a better permitting process for the permit holder.
All right, awesome. Anyone have any questions on the?
Issues with-
No, it does seem to make more sense the way it's.
And you have the language.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
just that basically it's at your own risk now.
Yeah.
And the upland owner has to prove
Yeah,
that they own.
And if they do, then we would still,
Absolutely.
it's letting people know that if they do that, we may still have to ask them to
Right.
move, but
Move.
haven't
Yeah.
had to.
Okay. All right. So I'll close, if there's no public to speak, I'll close the public hearing. Anyone from the board have any questions or comments? All right, I'll entertain a motion to pass the changes to the mooring regulation.
I'll make a motion to pass the changes to the mooring regulation.
Second?
All right, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie. And did you want to introduce someone here tonight?
No. Yeah, did you want to do appoint the
Yeah, we'll do the
nominations
appointments.
now for?
And move,
Oh, okay. We'll-
move the
We'll
appointments up.
bypass licensing real quick, Mac, but we'll be right back with you.
Nick, come on up. Room for two up here. Nick Sanders is our new natural resources officer, assistant shellfish constable, assistant harbormaster, assistant animal control officer, and animal inspector.
Oof, you're gonna be exhausted, Nick.
No, actually,
And he was out flying with us at like 2, 3 a.m. However, we've lost track. So he plows, he does it all.
Awesome.
So we have a few nominations, designations, and appointments on the agenda. For today.
Oh,
Yeah, so we have the appointments, Stephanie Sykes, Assistant Harbormaster, Nicholas Sanders, Assistant Harbormaster, and then Stephanie Sykes, Shellfish Constable, Scott Richards, Deputy Assistant Shellfish Constable, Nicholas Sanders, Deputy Assistant Shellfish Constable, Stephanie Sykes, Animal Control Officer, and Nicholas Sanders, Assistant Animal Control Officer. So we need a motion to appoint those individuals.
Motion to appoint the individuals who just listed.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome, Nick. and
Forward to seeing
welcome
you out
back.
there.
Nick, actually,
here.
you might have seen him at Salt Fun. He was a seasonal staff with us
Ah.
in 2022 and 2023. So comes with department experience.
We were all
All
masked
right,
up and,
Very good.
Thank you.
thank you.
And obviously, the whole point of those cross appointments are so there's no misunderstandings if one of the natural resource officers has a harbor concern or the harbor master has a natural resources concern and they're with the public, they can enforce anything across the
Any of
board.
it, yeah.
All right, we have licensing, Chase's Dad, Inc., doing business as Local Break. It's a change of hours
And a change of manager.
and a change of manager and a change of menu.
It's been 13 years.
We'll
since
get
I
some
was here for
changes.
the-
I know.
Yes, it really.
You were here though.
I know, I was, I remember. I met little Chase.
Chase was here, yeah.
Chase was
Yeah.
teeny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
good to see you
awesome.
guys.
So let us know what's happening.
So I'm expanding the business, and in doing so, I brought on some new business partners. So they actually have just done a lot of renovations and kind of doing a little build out so that they can, open the place up for more hours. They're gonna do something that I never did, which was open for lunch.
I remember you
So,
talking about it.
I know, yeah, so it's good.
There was a water
So-
issue, I think, I remember before when,
You know, I did open on Sundays my first year, no, Saturdays maybe. I opened 1 or 2 days a week for lunch, but it was just a staff
Football
thing.
when I think it
Yeah.
was Sunday.
And the kitchen was so small, you couldn't get ready for dinner and also be cooking for lunch. So they did some cool creative things in there and
Awesome.
looks good. So now it'll be a lunch and dinner spot year round, which I think
That's
is
great.
great, especially, in Eastham. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrific. Awesome.
Yep.
Well, thank you. Welcome. All right. Anyone have any questions? Jerry?
Well, first of all, thanks.
yeah.
Another place to- When do you think you might be, when do you think
Well,
you
we
might
closed
be open?
January 1st to, redo all the
Right.
floors, kitchen floors, basement floors, so, kind of across the board. And like anything, the goal was February 1st.
Yeah.
And a hang up here and a hang up there. So I'm hoping in a couple weeks.
All right.
Jerry
yeah.
wants lunch.
I mean,
Well,
depending-
yeah, well, so we're looking,
Yeah,
March or early spring.
Oh, no, I mean, they wanted to open yesterday,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
not literally, but that's their
Have to wait for
their game plan
contractors.
was February 1st. And, I think hopefully within the next 2 weeks, but
That's
it's like
great.
as soon as possible.
All right,
So,
that's good.
yeah.
And the only question I have, I want to make sure this doesn't mess up this application.
Yep.
Okay.
It's typed in that the applicant's name is Mackenzie Gallant, and then the signature of the applicant is
Yeah.
Alabina, is different.
It's the
Does that
manager.
matter? That's the manager. Does that matter that here, it says the applicant's this and the signature is different?
We've gone over it with Mac today, and I think, probably the best thing is if both sign, but they are corporate entities, so that person who is the
Has
new
the authority-
manager has the authority
Already
to
signed.
sign.
I just want to make sure this doesn't get messed up anywhere.
No, I
So that
appreciate
you
it.
open as soon as you can open.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank
And
you.
I did bring a menu of what it was, just I think.
Yeah, we got
Yes,
that.
it-
Yeah,
Excellent, thank
we
you.
got that. Thank you.
That's the updated
Okay.
one.
All right. Well, thank you. All right. So we need a motion to accept change of hours and I guess a new manager under the liquor license. Right.
I'll make a motion to accept the change of hours and accept the new manager on the liquor license.
Second.
All right. Any more discussion? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? 5-0.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank
again.
you.
Thank you
All
for being
right.
here.
All right. So we can skip over natural resources appointments and go on to the HERO Act. Jackie, do you want to talk about this a little or?
Sure, we can talk about it. Basically, this is an additional exemption that we can, you guys can decide to extend to veterans. Veterans already receive some tax benefits, including up to, say, all, if for
$400?
Yeah, it depends if you
depends
have
on the level of
spouse, right?
disability.
Yeah.
Right.
So the bottom line in Colleen's memo is we weren't sure we would want to do this in the same year that we're adopting the RTE, of course, because it's an additional hit to our overlay account of roughly a little over $30,000 she expects after the reimbursements. So,
Yeah, because the state doesn't do the added reimbursement
Yeah,
for
they
this
don't.
doubling.
yeah, and they don't do all the reimbursement anyway.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
looks like they only gave roughly
Yeah.
half before.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Colleen netted it, but you can't count the reimbursement that you're gonna get a year after. You gotta
This
raise the
one.
full amount.
Yep.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah, so tax wise, we have to, it jumps up. And I mean, one thing, this is not all veterans.
No.
I'm a veteran and fortunately I'm not eligible for this because I'm not disabled.
Is it only 100% or is?
No.
Oh,
it about
you're
40?
10%,
10%.
Yeah, if you're 10% or higher, or 10%, you get a $400
Yeah.
exemption.
Yeah,
If
because-
you're 100% disabled, you get $1,000.
That's what
And
it is.
those would double
Okay.
under this.
And then there's another
It's like
one that's
basically
12.
10% to 99% is the 400, and then at 100% it shifts
Yeah,
to
I
1,000.
think
There's
so.
three categories.
There's,
Okay.
Yeah,
There's 22, 22B and 22E, and I am not in the military, so I can't tell you which one
Yeah,
is
I
which.
couldn't tell. Okay. So it would go 800 to 2,000 basically for those.
If we did the
If we
double,
did the double.
there was another clause to just do a COLA.
Is it possible to get information on what the added cost to the town would be, given the standing that we currently have of veterans?
Yes, she
That's
did
The
it for you.
31,000.
What, it was the 31,000. Oh,
It's the
okay. I couldn't-
31,000, right? Because
So-
they're,
Oh,
Hit
okay.
overlay now.
What Rich
There
is saying is for this year, it would be
confused me.
roughly 120,000. And then we'd get reimbursed, but we'd have to have 118,639,000
Okay.
available.
Well, a year later.
We'd
start
get
to catch
hit.
up. You'd always be a year behind, but we'd have the 1 year, unfunded year behind us, so you know, it'd be.
it's like the circuit breaker, right? Kind of.
Yep. They all do, yeah.
Mhm.
All right, what are some thoughts on,
And you don't have to make a decision tonight. You can think
I know.
about it. It's not,
we can,
Oh, sorry.
sorry.
I'd say it is town meeting vote, so it needs to be an article.
so for this specific act to be, it's town meeting
Local
vote.
adoption, yeah.
You're basically it's another way you can accept a state statute, so you
But
can,
it'd be
A
good to
local
know
option.
it's,
So it's a local option,
It's a
so you have to
local
take it to
option.
town meeting. Yeah.
but if it's on there, we should have the money already allocated
Yeah, if we-
in the budget.
If you
it's
wanna
going
do it,
be-
we
if
have to have
wanna
the
put
money.
it on, right?
Mhm.
We have to make sure we allocate the money.
do we want to, my only thing is, maybe we wait until you guys make your decision about the percentage of the RTE, so that then Rich can walk you through what the
overlay
money
we'd need.
scenario will be.
Is
Is,
that enough time to
is
get
it
this
right,
on the
that's what I was
warrant?
wondering, is that enough time to get,
Yeah, we can have an article ready. It's not a big deal to do an article.
Just, you know, where the final meeting is before is it April 1st due date?
Yeah,
Yeah, when we send the warrant out, we just have to,
we'd
action
have
by
to
then.
know before.
Okay.
but I can roughly tell you right now, I adjust things as we go, and I'm anticipating not having much at all of excess levy capacity,
Mm.
independent of what might happen with the schools.
Mm.
So we don't have the money, excess levy capacity for anything and we can move free cash and other things that we can move around, but we don't have extra money for new things unless we move those things around or reduce something else. And then we still have to account for the schools in one form or fashion. So that's where we stand.
all right. Jamie?
I mean, I like the idea of thinking about this alongside a few of the other things we have going on. One thing I am gonna be mentioning later is that act that's at the state level right now, because within that are also some other local option tax situations that we could jump onto that don't affect the overlay.
Mhm.
There
They would be
So-
additional revenue.
would be additional revenue that would then create a
Would be
funding stream.
awesome.
So I don't know. I mean, I want to say yes because you're right, we want to do everything we can, but I also am sensitive to the overlay situation.
Well, just for this year, I mean, I think
Right,
it
yeah.
might be, one of them might need to get staggered.
If we put it to a town meeting vote, does that mean it's enacted immediately or does that mean it becomes this option of the
July.
select board?
It's enacted.
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 Okay.
yeah.
Can you,
And I will just submit to you that anyone's getting an exemption under these provisions is a resident.
Right,
So
Yeah.
they will be getting the benefit of the RTE. wherever
RTE
that ends up.
already this year. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking down the road, maybe. Like
I
another
mean,
year.
maybe we can future date it too. I don't know. Can we future
You
date
could
it
put in a date,
yeah,
but
I was
I
gonna
do like
ask if
that.
we could future
next
date
year
it.
so that we wouldn't forget about it, but
Yeah.
We could put it on the warrant, vote on it, but have the enact date be a year.
FY 27 as opposed to FY.
You don't like that?
not particularly.
Rich. I don't mind. I actually like that idea.
I was
We
gonna
can think
ask
about
that, yeah.
All right, well, we'll definitely put it back on the agenda.
Yeah,
Right.
I'd like to see it on the agenda.
Next month.
again. It's pretty hard to vote against.
Veterans, disabled veterans.
Well, and you look,
And again, you're not voting against veterans.
No,
This is, you're extending an extra
Right.
privilege in the same year that you're extending an extra privilege,
Yeah.
as Rich says. So it's,
I think that deferring it is the right thing to do for this year, given where we are with other initiatives. And I would not want to put it on as a delayed or as a later date enactment, because I think it kind of locks us into something that we may change our minds on later.
Yeah, I was surprised by the numbers, actually.
And it goes up and down, like some, obviously, our veterans.
I looked up
numbers
the different codes, and maybe next time we bring it up,
Can
we
go
should
through
put that in
those.
in the
Okay.
packet with this
Yeah, it
to
was just-
show. Because some are, I think this 22D where we have 7, those are people who I believe lost a spouse in combat
Oh,
in the
okay.
military.
Well, that would be
So
the spouse.
a lot of
That's
Vietnam.
gold. Yeah. Oh,
probably.
yeah.
Stars.
Kids.
Yeah. So
And
So do you want to bring it back in 2 weeks or a month?
let's do
month?
next month. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I just had one more quick question too.
Yep.
So some of the other items listed below, I know we have it's highlighted for the property tax, but number 5 is lengthening the time frame in which veterans in public service can pay to have up to 4 years of active duty service time count toward their state retirement. I thought they already had 4 years. I don't understand
Yeah.
what this would be, unless it's they have a longer time to pay for their 4 years. And would this be applied to town staff? It's just
Where exactly
Yeah,
was
see,
that,
but
Jamie?
that would be number 5. So that would be part of the legislation that has been passed.
so that I thought it was already enacted, right? Like I
Yeah.
thought they already had 4 years.
Yeah, they do.
So that wouldn't need a vote. It's just the number 4 then?
Yeah, just number 4 is the only one that you get to vote on. The others are state,
Because the annuity is a state thing.
yes.
Okay, all right, that's what I was confused by. Okay.
Can I ask a question to our
Sure, Suzanne.
veterans? And if you don't know, that's okay. The process of being determined disabled is done through the
The
VA,
VA?
Goes through the
and
VA.
how frequently does that?
Change?
And once you're
Or-
permanently disabled, you're permanently
And
disabled.
that does
They
not-
don't make you verify that you're
No.
disabled again?
No.
Okay.
No, not that I'm
No,
aware
you
of.
don't you have to go for like a screening though? Not often, but I believe there is, I think if you're at a partial disability, you do have to go
Oh,
in.
because you could
That's
get,
Could
possible.
get better,
But-
yeah.
could
because that
get,
could shift.
But I would
Yeah,
think
maybe
most
a-
of these people are
Fortunately.
in categories that are, the event has happened that has either permanently disabled them or blinded them, or they're paraplegic.
Yeah, it's not that, it's just sometimes there are systems in place where you're like, this person is very clearly disabled, and then they have to like prove it again. Even
Yeah.
though it's like, well, you're missing the leg, and then they're like, but are you sure you're still missing the leg? And
Yeah,
I
no,
just
I don't think the
wanted
VA
to
No.
double
that.
check
Yeah.
on the.
I mean, I don't think it's
I don't
easy
think
to
it goes
deal with the
backwards at
Veterans
all.
Administration I have not had personal experience, but I do think that it's a rough system to
Right.
function in.
Right.
But I don't think that they,
I don't think they're in the habit of removing. Yeah.
once
No.
they've given you a
Exactly.
benefit.
But I do think like a once every.
okay, so we'll bring it back in March.
Bring it back in
All right.
March.
All right.
Yeah.
Recreation and Beach
Beach
Department update. Wow.
Basically, Christine, I had asked her for for my town manager's report a while ago to do it, and she's a straight A student, so she
Oh, yeah.
gave you everything. And so I thought, oh, this is kind of a standalone report more than just throwing it in my.
Yeah, the sticker, there's going to be online sticker sales.
Yeah, I saw that so many people have asked about that. I saw that on there and I was like,
And it's brave, but yeah, we're going to do it.
Yeah, not open Memorial Day is going to be,
And
Yeah.
Well, the
it's
whole-
mean,
tougher,
the
but-
whole
it's going to be
point-
hard for people to,
The
get
whole
used to that.
point is that people panic because they think they need their sticker by Memorial Day, and your sticker is good until the end of June.
Yeah.
So you
if you
don't,
have one already, if you don't have one.
yeah,
then-
but very few
Right,
people don't.
I understand.
And the people that panic are usually you know, they already have a sticker. So you don't need it for Memorial Day. So we're not going to be open Memorial Day to sell you one because you don't need one until the third week in June.
Let everyone know at the meeting Wednesday.
Yeah,
And I know everyone loves to wait in that line, including me. I've had some great experiences in that line. I really have. I sincerely have a great experience every single time
Jackie.
I'm in line, chatting with people.
You should disguise yourself and then see what.
No,
kind of
it's
experience
great
you
because
have.
I get, you know, first of all, I listen for a little while and get the, you know, the air of the crowd, but then they start interacting with me and I get lists of pros and cons and good things and bad things. It's really, really lovely.
Productive.
yeah. Now, on the online, is there, will we add an extra charge? Because if they use a credit card or they use a PayPal, or whatever. what are we
The
gonna do?
treasurer is looking at that now, but I think it's going to be hopefully it will be similar to what we do now, which you can use the e-check, pay 40 cents or whatever.
All right. And
Or you can come and wait in line.
oh,
We'll
you come.
still do that.
No,
Bill with the tax bill.
I put it in, but it's also, how are
We
they
do-
gonna get them to me? Because you put in a prepaid.
They're going to mail it to you,
prepaid
Jerry.
mail, and they're gonna charge the $1 to mail.
Details to come.
Details come. Okay, I was just wondering if it's gonna be the same as the current mail.
Or you
We've
put
mailed
your-
them back and forth before. Did you have to pay when we mailed
You
them to you
put a
before?
self-addressed.
Self-addressed
stamp.
or
Or pay
pay the
$1.
$1.
Okay, so I'm assuming it will be similar because we will have to mail you
Yeah, they'll
the.
do the same.
Or
And
you
then
could
this will
maybe
just be
pick
an
'em up
added layer of
That would be
options.
I think that'd be a little
Well,
It does
Silly.
say,
prepay and then go ahead.
But I know we're working out the payment.
due to the online sales opening May 1, all mail-ins must be postmarked by April 30th to be processed early.
That's right.
Any mail-ins postmarked May 1 and after may be subject to a longer processing time.
Yep.
So if this is
But
how
it's
you get
so-
your beach sticker news,
you know,
that's an important part to pay
Do
attention
it with your
to.
tax bill and then.
drop.
But are we gonna,
it.
maybe we'll have a nice thing on the website and Facebook that
Oh,
very
definitely.
clearly lays it all out.
Well,
Well,
we'll make an effort, you know, we
Yeah,
will,
I
and
know
we
you will.
know
Doesn't
we
mean-
will have a
yeah.
misunderstanding,
Yes.
at least one. But
Yeah, well, there's also, you put
but
it
I'm
in-
excited about this. I mean,
Right.
we are crawling
We're
into
crawling into, yes.
modernity.
Yes.
Exactly.
If people could print their own stickers, that would be
Oh,
even
no,
better.
don't.
Oh, no, we don't want that.
Shh.
But,
That happened one year.
With,
remember?
with
I
one of
didn't
those
care
little
yet.
things that is a holographic,
Dude.
special printers.
yep.
Anyway, we're
All right.
picking the color too, and I forget what it was, darn it, because that's the most important.
It
thing to me.
is. It's gotta look good on the, like,
No.
when you lay them all out. On that back window.
Run out of colors after a while. She has to get the whole
You do.
Pantone selection.
Oh, yes.
May
All right.
I ask a question about the bottles and cans?
Certainly.
Yes.
It says that Rec and Beach take over recycling of plastics and cans at the transfer station.
Correct.
It's a-
Always.
That's the-
School has it in the winter.
Yeah.
That's the 5-cent returnable, not the
Oh.
recycled plastic, but. the-
Believe it or not,
Oh, you mean, okay.
someone stands there on the top of that pile and sorts out the bottles and cans.
Actually, I
nice
wanna
shoots
say, I
down
think
below.
because the school, it's the parent,
Bees.
it's
Parents
the,
group. I did it for years.
yeah, I know a few
It's
people
a
that have
messy
done it.
job.
Before once I found out I was
It's a
allergic
little
to
better than
bees,
it used
I
to be,
stopped.
But they
because
get the
Deposit.
money.
they get the money.
They
Deposit.
get the money. Okay, because I was like, why are we,
They work hard for the money, Suzanne.
Yeah.
I was like, why did we take this part of like transfer station operations and give it
No,
to Beach and
And
Rec?
we've used community service
It's-
people. We've used all sorts of.
Now we have,
Didn't get it.
Deposit. That's okay.
but, and it used to travel, like it used to be different 501c3 groups that would do it, but you know, less and less people really wanted to do it.
The FE still does the glass. Yeah. Okay. All right. Committee resignations. Lee Bartell from the Recycling Committee, Kait Logan, Open Space Committee, and Peter Hansinger from the Board of Health. Need a motion to accept their resignations.
I move we accept their resignations.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
Um, I
I'll
think,
do the letters.
Thank you, Jerry.
thanks.
All in favor?
I
Any opposed? 5-0.
I think the
And-
Board of Health is gonna need a member.
Yeah,
The quorum, you mean?
We
quorum?
tried really hard around the new year to interview some people, and Kate was following up, and we had interviews and they maybe fell through. So if anyone knows anyone who's interested in, and maybe she's on top of it, but I need to,
Board
if
of
you
Health.
know anyone who's interested in the Board of Health,
Board of Health, all right.
send them to the search committee or me or the search committee.
all right. Committee appointments. Stephan Nunnally, Planning
Yeah.
Board.
I'm surprised the form should have been attached to
not
the
in.
packet
I didn't
from the
see it.
interview. I know it's not there. I was there.
So you know you
We both-
interviewed him.
I know we interviewed him and we both, everybody was very excited to have him on board. He's been an Eastham resident for decades, familiar with planning boards in his former town. He also sat on a zoning board of appeals. Very familiar with Eastham and the new zoning that's been voted at town meeting the last few years. So he's aware of everything going on and excited to serve on the board. And this is the last open seat. He's going to be an alternate.
Awesome.
He's on the CERT team.
Yes,
Ooh,
yeah.
Nice.
All right. Would you like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept Stephan Nunnally onto the planning board
So
as
moved.
an alternate.
So moved. Second? Second. So moved and seconded.
Same.
All right. Any more discussion?
There's S's.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. All right. Town managers report.
Really don't have too much new. Melanie informed me that the library is, the trustees are going to do their strategic plan, so they're going to be dropping off those. So we're looking for a good response for the strategic plan. The library trustees really do use that as a program and in all ways planning tool. So get out there and ask for what you want at the library. And I think that's all I have for now. Rich, can you think of anything?
All right.
Sorry.
All
you
right.
didn't
We
a
have,
report,
all right, new upcoming agenda items and follow-up.
Can I make a comment? Because I forgot
Certainly.
under the beach and rec, because I'm sure people will ask. The docks will not be going out at Wiley Park
Yeah,
because we still do not have lifeguards. And the reason we don't have lifeguards is the same
Everybody-
reason nobody has lifeguards. But I did appreciate in the report the breakdown of how hard
Yeah, pretty
it was
shocking
for
numbers.
Barnstable to hire lifeguards and then ratio that out to our town.
Yeah.
So
And we're really lucky that the seashore seems
Right.
to be able to maintain enough
Yes.
lifeguards because
Good job.
they do.
that's all.
So I was just gonna follow up what I had touched on earlier, possibly for future meeting or something to consider, but the Municipal Empowerment Act, we heard it chatted about at the MMA conference, and I did some deep diving into the document and into some of the features that I think could be really beneficial for Eastham. And one of the things I was looking at was the local option taxes that are being offered under this umbrella. There are 3 of them. And the 2 that really stood out to me is the local lodging tax going from 6 to 7%. What this does is it's hotels, motels, short-term rentals, everything across the board. That would create an increased revenue in Eastham of, thank you, Rich, 377,827,000. Sorry, I can't even talk. $377,827. And then the other one is the local meals tax going from 0.75 to 1%. So a 0.25 increase, and the revenue increase here would be $52,600. The third option is, and this is one, I don't know if it's as right for Eastham, but I do see it being right for an option for the state. This one is the vehicle excise tax surcharge. This one is 5%. This in Eastham, it would be about $53,000. So of an increased revenue.
What would it change to?
I don't think there was a surcharge. This would be an option for a 5% surcharge.
A 5% surcharge on
On
top
the
of,
ex-
on
okay.
top of the excise.
Nice.
That would
tax.
come to the local
It would-
town.
Right, so all of these create sustainable fund streams that go directly to the town. So what I thought was lovely is that, you know, for instance, like the lodging tax and the meals tax, like with those, you could take a portion of one of those and maybe stabilize that business grant program that we had done the last couple years, where we were able to provide funds to local businesses to improve facade, or, you know, with all of the new zoning changes coming, maybe it would be a great piece to help offset some of the you know, updates people may want to do. And this would be a great way to sustain those funds. It also isn't reliant on federal money. Given the next 4 years, it would be lovely to have streams that are self-sustaining. And what I like about it is that, you know, it's hard when you do kind of blanket programs for the whole state, because not everything works for everybody. But what I love about this is they're all local option. So, you know, the meals tax and lodging tax make a lot of sense for us because we're a resort community. Those things make sense. But like there are towns in Massachusetts that have like pretty much no lodging spaces, but you know, the vehicle excise tax could work really well for
For
them.
them, yeah.
So, you know, we get to pick and choose what works for us.
What was the number for the excise tax?
Sure. So excise tax, 53,000.
Okay.
So if we did all of them, or if we did, so without excise tax, it would be a total of about 430,000. And with excise tax, it would be about 483, 484.
Yep.
So, you know, and that's annual. And that's on top of what we already.
Yeah, it's not
collect.
minor.
Right, and those would have to be warrant articles, I imagine.
Those
too.
would, yes,
Yeah.
they're warrant articles. So the first, the Municipal Empowerment Act has to pass. So I didn't know if we might like to send a letter in favor of it. I can draft a letter too and give people time to, you know, do a little digging on the Municipal Empowerment Act too, if you wanted to look at them more.
Yeah, and even like, how about a letter, draft a letter and a link? So we can look, everyone can go directly to the act and look at it
Yep.
and where it is in their process. Is it up for a vote soon or
I
It was
don't,
just proposed.
was just
Yeah.
proposed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Reintroduced.
So wouldn't it be anything
was-
this
was
town?
gonna
I
could
suggest,
do?
Jackie, we have
no, it wouldn't be for this town.
have a
meeting.
summary of the act that we could probably get out to you, because it's more than just what Jamie, it's more than the local option revenues. It's,
Okay.
you know,
There's just-
remote meeting participation, updating that law
There's a
and
whole
allowing
bunch.
that going forward. It's procurement changes, which is huge. Going
Means
from the
tested senior
50,000 to
property tax.
100,000. A lot of other little provisions, so.
Okay, yeah, if you could,
And
I
this
guess,
is not its first iteration. This is its second.
Mhm. And there is even a thing in there about a veterans district. And Amy, I'd be interested to get your opinion on that too. I was trying to dissect it and I couldn't really wrap my
okay.
brain fully around it. So,
In the Veterans District, that allows towns to create their own. We already
so-
participate in a Cape-wide Veterans District. All the towns
Oh,
in Cape
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
Wareham are part of the District Department of Veterans Services. Greg Quilty is a retired major, runs that and does that for all the Cape Cod towns. That's what's in our budget under the Veterans District Assessment.
So right now, it's kind of like our health group. We have a veterans group
Mhm.
for the towns
right.
that we participate, and each town gives a certain percentage to their annual budget, and they
Also-
represent us. for the-
Also separate of federal funding.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Um,
And yeah, all this, you know, all the things that struck me as interesting were.
we have an email from the MMA. If you signed up for their emails, they send a lot of emails out, but
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Friday they sent the,
Okay, I've been, a lot of my emails been going to junk lately, I'm not sure
it's
why.
in mine under other. I
Okay.
can forward it.
I'll
to
look
you
up
if you
MMA.
want.
Emails.
It is action alert support. The MEA.
Municipal Empowerment Act, MEA.
Municipal Empowerment Act, yep, the MEA, yep. So it's a link to but I'll send another link. I'll do the letter and send a
Okay.
link and,
Okay.
we'll see. I'm sure I can give you. Okay.
Cool.
A little easier to digest information.
All right, thank you, Jamie.
Mhm.
All right, any other? Previous, I know Bob had brought up the fire thing and we were working on that,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah, that'd be great. I was interesting that, didn't Kim Driscoll also bring that up at the meeting?
About wildfires?
Yeah.
Doesn't turn on.
I didn't
Good
remember
time to talk
specifically,
about
but-
disaster preparedness in general, but we'll definitely get to that specific. Thank you.
All right, minutes. So we
So
have
it was just the January meetings.
the January meetings, January 6th and January 13th meetings
She's not forgotten about December. It's just she's gonna,
in August.
she wanted to do January 1st. I don't know what happened to
Yeah,
August.
yeah. They're in the vortex somewhere. So I need a motion on January 6th minutes and January 13th minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept the January 6th and January 13th minutes.
Second.
Other business or correspondence? Jerry?
I move we adjourn.
Wow.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.